So, for this training session, we will be going over the Clausing 227420-inch drill press and the 4TK03 machine vise. Both are assembled and in place in operating state downstairs. Excuse me. And in general, for this session, we'll be doing a classroom session and then a brief break and then the live demo downstairs. For the overview, we'll be going over the safety according to the manufacturer and all its requirements. Brief description of the lesson, which is right now. The expectation of the student is that they will have working knowledge of the safety, the maintenance, and the correct operation of the equipment, and then an overview of the product and its description. We will define the controls, mostly in the electrical connection, the lockout tagout procedure, and then go through some troubleshooting steps and then the maintenance routine related to this, which will also briefly cover troubleshooting kind of in one. And then just an exploded view of the equipment drawing so you can see the internals of this assembly. And then a brief overview of the machine vise that is mounted on it. Which I guess would count as the special tools portion of this one, as well as the two cutting drill bits that are up there already, and then the adjustable chuck attachment that is in there already as well. Cool. And then we'll have you sign in and move on to the next one. So, just a brief overview of what the equipment is. After safety, we'll come back to page 20. So let's check that. So, if you check your manual, we will start off on the second page. Or well, that's page 3. And it's printed front to back, so it'll be like the 7.5 page. So looking at it right now, perfect. Okay, so basically it's just the safety rules of know your tool. Okay, so safety. Now basically just read through these so we have them on record and training. Know your power tool. Read the owner's manual carefully, learn its application and limitations, as well as the specific potential hazards peculiar to this tool. Ground all tools. If tool is equipped with a 3-prong plug, it should be plugged into a 3-prong receptacle. If the adapter is used to accommodate a 2-prong receptacle, the ground adapting wire must be attached to the known ground. Never remove the 3rd prong. I believe they are wired up to 230 or 110 downstairs, so there's no need to really address it. It's hard wired in. Excuse me. Keeps guards in place at all times. There is an adjustable guard on the spindle itself. It retracts and extends according to however you advance the quill. There is a pin that helps you release and adjust it so it goes in place or it's out of the way so you can work on the actual tool or quill as needed. Remove adjusting keys and wrenches. Form a habit of checking to see if the keys and adjusting wrenches are removed from the tool before turning on the tool. Basically, just keeping the work area clean as well. Cluttered areas and bench vices invite accidents. Avoid dangerous environments. Do not use the power tool in damp or wet locations. Keep the work area illuminated. Keep children away. All visitors and basically anyone who is untrained on this equipment should be kept for a safe distance from the work area. Make the workshop kid-proof. Another one with padlocks, master switches, or by removing the starter keys. For this one, it is just an isolation switch and an on-off switch on the actual machine. Okay, do not force the tool. It will do the job better and safer at a rate for which it is designed. Do not force it or else you can cause premature damage. Use the right tool. Do not force or attached. Don't force tool or attachment to do a job it was not designed for. Wear the proper apparel. Always have the correct PPE on. So work boots, your eye and ear wear if necessary, and safety helmet and high vis according to whatever the job site calls for. No loose clothing or jewelry because they can get caught up in the moving components. Use safety glasses. Always use a face or dust mask if cutting operation is dusty as well. Excuse me. Secure work. Use clamps or a vise, which we do have, fastened to the table right now, to hold work when practical. It is safer than using your hand, and frees both hands up to operate the tool. Do not overreach. Always keep proper footing and balance at all times. Maintenance tools in top condition. Keep tools sharp and clean for best and safest performances. Follow instructions and lubricants Follow instructions for lubricating and changing accessories. We'll go over that basically in the maintenance section as well. Disconnect tools before servicing and when changing accessories, such as the blades, bits, and covers. Always turn off the isolation switch so that it's not energized during any maintenance procedures as well, just as another side note. Avoid accidental starting. Make sure all switches are in the off position before plugging in the cord. Use recommended accessories. Consult the owner's manual, and use of improper accessories may be hazardous to your health. Safety glasses, image. And then just for the instructions, please be sure to read all instructions prior to operating the actual machine. And then for the safety instructions, we basically just went over all of those. I don't believe everything else needs to be covered. There's a lengthy section on proper grounding and everything that we're going to skip over because it's not applicable to our situation. So we have this. So I'm going to read over these instructions as well. Bear with me. And then we will go to the maintenance operation of the machine. So read all the instructions. Never attempt to operate the machine unless all guards and covers are in place. Close the working area properly, and never attempt to modify or bypass safety features designed for your protection. Always disconnect the electrical power source at the source when doing maintenance, making adjustments, or changing the cutting tool. So I guess we just need to make that a habit. Stay clear of the machine while it is in operation. All visitors should keep clear and away from the work area. Never insert any part of the body into the cutting area while the machine device is operating. Contact with a moving cutting tool can produce severe lacerations and or amputations. Never attempt to adjust the table position while it is in operation. Never attempt to clean or perform any type of maintenance while the machine is in operation. Always use hand tools for feeding and retrieving material from the point of operation or hazardous parts of the machine. Always be sure that the tool is fully stopped before loading and unloading the machine. Another, just keep hands and feet away from all moving parts while it's still waiting to come to a complete stop. Always be sure that the tool is securely clamped to the spindle. Always remove the chuck and key or other tools from the spindle before operating this machine. Failure to do so may result in severe injury because they make it form out and come loose from the actual machine itself and cause injury. Always cut with a clean, sharp tool. Dull or dirty tools may break during operation. So right now we're at number 8. Always wear adequate personal protective equipment while operating this machine. Foreign objects can be thrown from the machine and cause personal injury, especially to the eyes. Always wear eye protection while operating this machine. Number 9, always be sure that the material to the machine is securely clamped before starting a hole. Loose materials may be thrown from the machine, causing personal injury and or cause damage to the machine itself. So broken tool, etc. Okay, now we're going to go to the next page for number 10 and on. Excuse me. Number 10, always support long materials along both sides of the work area to prevent the material from falling to the floor. Wear safety shoes as required, and never support stock with your hands or other body parts while the machine is operating. Keeping both hands free to operate the tool as well. Never use this machine for any purpose outside of cutting metal. For example, do not use this machine to drill wood and or plastic. Number 12, never operate this machine in the presence of flammable It's on the screen. Flammable liquids or gases. Number 13, always notify your supervisor immediately if you see an unsafe practice or condition. Number 14, never wear any loose clothing or jewelry that can get caught up in the moving parts of this machine, restrain or contain long hair for that same reason. Never point a fan in the direction that it could blow hair or clothing to the point of operation. Never wear gloves while operating this machine. Gloves can get caught in moving parts of the machine and cause injury. We're sitting on 15 right now. Keep the entire work area around the machine clean and free of trip hazards. Keep the machine itself clean and free of any metal chips, scrap pieces, etc. Be sure the floor is not slippery or has any debris just lying around. Keep a tidy workplace, essentially. Follow the maintenance instructions provided with this machine periodically to inspect and if the machine is worn or the components. So that will also go along with the troubleshooting section. They're basically one and the same. Where did I just stop? 17. Okay, always keep warning labels and caution labels and the serial plate clean and legible. If replacements are needed, you may order them from the clothing service center. Refer to other parts list for any of the other part numbers. Labels help prevent accidents. Exclamation point. Number 18, avoid excessive contact with machine fluids, lubricants, or coolants to reduce the chance of allergic reactions. Always stay alert while operating this machine. Do not allow yourself to become distracted, preoccupied, overconfident, or inattentive. Never operate this machine if you are under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or any other medications that will leave you drowsy. Do not operate this machine when you are tired as well. Excuse me. Never operate the machine unless you are fully understand the use of the controls and the operating cycles. If you have any questions, call your supervisor. Always lock the disconnect switch in the off position when the machine is not in use to prevent unauthorized use. Number 22, report any unusual or questionable sounds, conditions, and machine actions to the proper person. I will say excessive heat as well for any kind of troubleshooting on that one. Anything that is an unusual sound should be reported. We're on 23 right now. Sure. Yes. Okay, 23. Never reach around under or over safety devices provided for your protection. Never try to beat or cheat these safeguards. Never force a tool or attachment to do the job or operate at a speed that it was not designed for. 25. Never touch the tool as it comes out of the hole as it can be hot. 26. Never use your hand to brush away chips and shavings from around the table. Use a brush. The chips are sharp and probably hot. 27. Never try to exceed the listed capabilities and limitations of this machine. And then we have 3 more on the next page. 7 if you're there. So for 7, never put your hands inside the belt guard while the drill is running. Number 29, any employee who adjusts positions or installs safety equipment, devices, guards, or shields should do so as instructed by the employee. The final one, always check the setup during each shift between each job to ensure that all the safeguarding is working and that the operation will be performed in a safe manner. Severe operating conditions may require more frequent checking. And then we have a long section for the installation, electrical connections, and proper grounding. That was all taken care of by the electricians who had already installed the equipment, so we're going to breeze over that section. Next thing to look at is going to be just essentially the lockout procedure. There's an isolation switch on the wall, and then there is a hole that should be locked out for any maintenance purposes, and that would basically be the only point of lockout for this machine unless you dug deeper or disassembled something. I think that's the only applicable one that would apply to the safety procedures of this facility. And then if we skip to page 12, we have kind of just where the general definition of what we'll go for here. So yeah, for number 3, full employee protection. When a tagout device is used on an energy isolating device, which is capable of being locked out, aka the isolation switch on the wall, the tagout device shall be tagged at the same attachment point as the lockout device would have been when attached by the employer, and the employer shall demonstrate that the tagout program will provide a level of safety equivalent to that attained by the lockout. Oh, goodness, sorry. Just read that again. The tagout program will provide a level of safety equivalent to that obtained by using a lockout program. So for the lockout, there's one periodic inspection. Here, okay, so if we go to page 14 and point 6, along with the general maintenance schedule and everything, there's a periodic inspection that should take place as well. The employer shall conduct a periodic inspection of the energy control procedure, meaning the lockout procedure as well, at least annually. And to ensure that the procedure and requirements of the standard are being followed, the periodic inspection shall be performed by an authorized personnel or employee other than the ones utilizing the energy control procedure being inspected. The periodic inspection shall be conducted to correct any deviations or inadequacies identified. Okay, that'll cover that. And then we can skip over to so we can skip up to page 20 because the rest of that is honestly just grounding and other connections. I'm just going to check. If a drill is being removed from service, the following steps must be included. If coolant is being installed, the coolant system has been installed. Drain the coolant from the tank and lines. Clean the tank and dispose of the coolant according to the local laws and regulations. If the drill is intended for reuse, coat all of the exposed metal with a rust preventative before storing. The wiring to the drill must not be left exposed to possible contact. The wiring should end in a junction box with all of the openings sealed. If the drill is to be scrapped, it should be done according to the local laws and regulations. Safety during maintenance. Always disconnect the electrical power at the source when doing any maintenance, making adjustments, or changing of drill bits. On drills equipped with an air feed, never remove pneumatic lines that are part of the drill without making sure that the head is either in the full down position or the fully supported by a raised position. There's no pneumatics here, so we don't have to worry about that. If your machine has a pressure adjustment for the hydraulic or pneumatic system, I guess that's not applicable, we don't have that here. Always replace all guards before putting the drill back into service. Never open a belt guard until you are sure that the pulleys have stopped moving. And if a guard is open too soon, the belt may catch the pulley and come loose, possibly causing personal injury. And then we can turn it over and go to the next page. And this will be our maintenance, operating, and our troubleshooting, kind of all in one. So that's the way to describe it. We'll just follow it. A brief overview of the machine itself. So if you look at where A is, that's basically the locking nuts that will prevent you from spinning around the column and orientate the actual head itself. B is going to be the hand feed. C is going to be, where is that located? C is going to be the bottom of the spindle, and basically the spindle assembly itself. D is going to be the locking of the table. I believe it locks the height, and it's a knob in the back. It's not pointing to anything else. It's just a knob behind the table where the table reaches, or the collar of the table reaches around the column itself. E is just the table, and then F is going to be the bottom collar of the column. Let's see where it's specifically called out. I think we can just infer that. G might be the track that is fastened to it as well. collar, and then the two screws that I guess would be tightening the collar will be G, H, I believe is only talking about the track that is sitting on the column itself. It's like a racket pinion. You can basically turn that crank at J, and the table will adjust height as needed. J would just be that hand crank. And then K is called out as the quill lock. I think there's a fixed height to it, where it needs to rest, or where it clamps down on the actual quill itself. And I think that is only it for L. So L would be the screws that are tightened on the safety collar for the actual machine itself. You'd think it would point to that knob that's right over there, but it's not. It's pointing to two different nuts. Base. That would be the general overview of the outer components of the machine. There's an explorative view of the internals for any maintenance procedures that need to happen later on in the manual, but for now we can just go through these procedures. So for leveling the drill press should be level and rest solidly on the floor. Place shins underneath the 3 foundation bolts in level to level the drill press. Equal pressure should be applied to the foundation bolts to prevent distorting the base. Next, we're going to raising the head to the operating position with the lift table. Okay, step 1, loosen the table lock, D, figure 1. Step 2, lift crank, with lift crank, J, raise the table, E, to the bottom of the spindle, C. Place the block of wood between the spindle and the table. And then 3, lock the table securely with the handle for D. And then 4, loosen the 2 head lock nuts, A, and the quill lock. Number 5, lift the table, turning feet. Lift head by turning the feet table, B, counterclockwise, while holding handle. Tighten the head lock nuts, A. Number 6, slide the safety collar, M, up to the bottom of the head. Tighten screws, L, in the collar. That'll be for raising the head position, operating position with the lift table. Okay. And then basically, the next one says repeat operations 1 through 6 as the table has reached the top of the rack. Okay, so in order to raise the rack, follow steps 7 through 10. Number 7. Lock the table with the handle, D, figure 1. 8, loosen the 2 screws, G, in rack collar, F. Number 9, turn crank J, raise rack to bottom of collar, N. And 10, securely tighten 2 screws, G, in rack collar. Repeat 1 through 10 until the head is in position. For lubrication, number 1, spindle pulley drive. Use a light grease occasionally on the spindle lines for A in figure 2. 2, the lower quill bearings, C. Lubricate daily with a few drops of SAE number 20 oil. All other ball bearings and the head are lubricated for life. Number 3, the feed shaft, B. Grease weekly with number 1 ball bearing grease fittings under the head. Number 4, keep the quill, H, and column, G, covered with a light film of oil. Number 5, table lift shaft, E, oil once a week with SAE number 20 oil. Number 6, the lift rack, F, lubricate regularly with SAE number 20 oil. Before oiling, clean the rack with kerosene. Number 7, lift table gears, D, lubricate once a year, clean and repack with bearing grease. Alright, so lubricating the variable drive. Sorry, should have that up. Lubricating the variable drive. Number 1, oil in the fork A, figure 3. Oil once a week with SAE number 20 oil. Number 2, the oil post B and rod D occasionally with SAE number 20 oil. Number 3, lubricate pulley bearings C once a month with ball bearing grease. And then number 4, once a year, clean and grease the medium cut grease cam in hand wheel C figure 4. To disassemble, loosen screw A and remove plate B. Remove hand wheel by taking out the center bolt. I guess that is the end of lubrication. Toss that aside. Continuing on for a few other.
Further operation instructions can be found in the manual for more in-depth servicing of the equipment. Such processes that will be found are changing the spindle speeds, replacing the spindle belts, adjusting the depth stop, adjusting the spindle return spring and adjusting the spindle end play. Please only allow a mechanically inclined service team member to perform these tasks and after approval from a supervisor. To change a tool in the spindle, simply shut the machine off and place the wedge in the slot of the spindle. Gently jostle or tap the wedge with a hammer or scrap work piece while holding the tool bit currently in the spindle. We want to make sure the tool bit in the spindle does not fall and be damaged.
It had to be heated just to kill any fires.